Hey everybody, George Conley with Scratch Golf Tips. Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be talking about pre-shot routines. Now in this video we're going to be talking about three things. First, what is a pre-shot routine? Second, why are they so important? And third, we're going to be talking about different aspects that your pre-shot routine should have. And then I'll also throw up some examples of PGA Tour players and their pre-shot routines, which will help you get a nice visual for that. So to begin, a pre-shot routine is just as the name would insinuate. It is a routine that you go through before you hit a shot. It's usually a number of steps that we'll talk about a little bit later on in the video, and it can change between a driver and a putter. Those routines are generally a little bit different, or between even irons and putter. But generally speaking, it is a set of steps that you go through before hitting a shot. Now, as we know, unlike many sports, golf is not a reactionary sport. Once the ball is there, the ball is just sitting there waiting for you to hit it. Unlike in basketball, if you shoot a shot, you don't have all day to think about it. So we do have all day to think about it in golf, so it's very important to have a set routine in stepping to that ball. One of the huge benefits to having a pre-shot routine in golf is that it adds a level of familiarity to any shot, even if it's a shot that you haven't seen before, a course you haven't played before. You know that you'll go through this routine before a shot, and then once you step up to the ball and end up hitting it, it's just like any other shot because that routine is so similar. One thing you'll notice from any tour pro that you watch on television is that if you time their pre-shot routine, the time in between when they align themselves and pick a line to the ball, step up to the ball, and then make contact, the time is almost identical, especially with putting. This is obviously not coincidence. These players are very conscious about the time it takes them to do these pre-shot routines, because if there's that level of consistency in the pre-shot routine, there's bound to be a level of consistency in their play. One of the most prominent benefits to having a pre-shot routine is when you're playing golf under pressure. When you're playing golf under pressure, say you have a pressure putt, it's very easy to stand over that putt and stress out and think, oh, a million things running through your mind. However, if you have a pre-shot routine, those things will all leave your mind. When you pick that line and your pre-shot routine starts, you're in game mode. And then those 10 or 15 seconds before you make contact with the ball, you're not thinking about the pressure, you're thinking about your pre-shot routine. So now that we know a little bit more about the pre-shot routine and its importance, let's get into building one for yourself. Keep in mind that all of these steps are a basic outline to a pre-shot routine. A pre-shot routine is very personal to you and your game. There are some things in this that I don't have in my pre-shot routine, and not every tour pro will have this in their pre-shot routine. So just pick and choose and go with whatever is comfortable and whatever is going to give you the most confidence on the course. So assuming that you have your yardage and your club picked, the first thing that a lot of golfers will do in their pre-shot routine is pick a target line. You may see many players hold up their club and close one eye. That's one way to choose a target line. A lot of players will hold the putter up when they're on the putting green. That's just a few different ways to choose your target line. Whenever you are choosing your target line, it is advisable that you are about 10 feet behind your ball, looking at it and looking up and taking in the entire environment. Personally, in my pre-shot routine, it helps that I look at some type of structure, whether it be the cart barn or a specific tree or bunker, and then I choose that line, and then once I have it, I begin the next step in my pre-shot routine. So for some players, after they choose that target line, they'll do a couple warm-up swings before they step up to the ball, and while they're still a few feet behind the ball. Here's a video of Tiger. Tiger usually does a few practice swings like you can see here, and then he backs up one more time. He always hits that club down, and then from there, he'll walk up to the ball. Again, that's just a particular example of something Tiger does. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, no pressure. Next, how you walk up to the ball and place your club down is very important. It should never be overlooked. Here's Xander Schauffele stepping up to his ball. He usually puts that club down, and then he adjusts his grip and his stance prior to, obviously, his takeaway practice that he always does, which you can see on the screen right now. There are also some players who will put that club down on the ground, and then they'll look up and then look back down, and then they take their stance. Again, it's just trial and error. You need to find out what feels best for you. So now that you've picked your target, walked up to your ball, and addressed your ball, there are a few ways you can go from there. Here's a video of Justin Thomas's pre-shot routine. He always does 1 or 2 regrips, and then he takes that club back to see his takeaway, and then from there, he waits another maybe 3 or 4 seconds until he gets through the ball. That move, that half rehearsal takeaway, we saw it with Schauffele and Thomas in this video, that's becoming more popular. It's something that I've adopted into my own game as well, because I like seeing that club go back and feeling that takeaway, especially if I'm hitting, a fade, you want to feel that takeaway come out a little bit, or a draw, I want to feel it more neutral. I'd certainly recommend that you can try that out, and if you like it, stick with it. If not, no problem. You've picked your target, you've walked up to the ball, addressed the ball, maybe you throw in some practice swings or that takeaway rehearsal. Again, whatever feels right. Now you're over the ball, and now you have to have a trigger. This is a very important aspect of the pre-shot routine. The trigger can manifest itself in a few ways. One of the more popular ones that we've seen is Jordan Spieth, who does that forward shaft lean. It's very exaggerated with a putter, but if you pay attention, he also does it with all of his clubs. He does it with the driver, the irons, he's always doing it. Another popular trigger that you see on tour is called the hover, which is when you slightly raise the club above the ground and then you take it back. Very popular. Guys like Ricky Fowler, Matt Kuchar, amongst many others are doing that. Some golfers on tour will backload their weight, and you can see a visible transfer of weight before the swing has even started. Guys like Henrik Stenson do that. Those are all just a few ways that you can trigger the swing. Once again, it is totally up to you and what feels comfortable. Some people don't have any trigger at all. Right after they finish their practice swing, they just step up, wait a second or two, and then go through it once again. So those are the aspects of your pre-shot routine. Again, as I said earlier, it is trial and error. My pre-shot routine has changed quite a bit. I'm sure a lot of folks on tour, I'm not comparing myself to tour players, but a lot of folks on tour have also had their pre-shot routines. They're constantly changing and adapting for whatever feels comfortable to them. I should also say that you should not be working on your pre-shot routine in the middle of a round. If you have it, great. Practice with it, but don't change it and alter it in the middle of a round. Same thing with technical parts of your swing. You don't want to be changing anything with your swing in the middle of a round. So I hope you've learned a few things about the pre-shot routine, its importance, and how you can adopt one for your game. As always, you can comment any questions or concerns down below. I respond to all the comments, and you can reach out to me on any of the Scratch Golf Tips social media platforms, and also email me personally at scratchgolftips@mail.com. If you like the apparel I wear in these videos, I wear John Morgan Sportswear. They are a partner of Scratch Golf Tips, and they will be linked down below. Thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate it very much. Play well and take care.